What's up guys, Tim here from Audio Tutor. Today we are talking about songwriting. So on this channel, Audio Tutor, we often talk about audio and recording and mixing and even mastering, but also another avenue that I want to go down and delve into is the process of songwriting. Writing a song from start to finish. Maybe you've got a great idea or you've written a chorus, but you just don't know where to go with it or how you sort of access the next step. Well, that's what I want to do in this mini-series, is go through the process of writing a song from start to finish. And as an example, we're going to be using one of my songs, a Christmas song actually, believe it or not. It was a pop song that I released in December of 2017. And it was kind of a tropical house pop song with some references to the festive season.
Let me kiss you 2 times or more. The ships are calling me to the shore and we're not.
So we're going to be using that as an example to teach you the process, the process I took in writing that song and the challenges I faced and how I overcame those challenges, and some little tips and tricks in there as well. So welcome to the very first episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the initial idea, the initial concept for the song. We're going to be talking about the purposeful influence and inspiration for making the song, the first chords I came up with, and the chorus, which in this case was the very first part of the song that I wrote. So, number one, the initial concept for the song. Well, this kind of ties into your inspiration and influence in a way, because I came up with this idea for the song because I've been listening to so much of that tropical house style of music. It's a style that Kygo, the producer, kind of coined it, and more and more people have been producing this sort of music, and I was sort of listening to it while I was working out and that sort of thing, countless playlists on Spotify or whatever. And so I kind of just wanted to create a song like that, and it was Christmas time, so the initial concept was to mix the two things together, was to amalgamate Christmas and this tropical house vibe, right? So that was the initial idea. It was sort of like a Christmas song for those people who maybe live in a hot place or live at the beach at Christmas. The idea of, like in Australia, it's the height of summer at Christmas time. So it's not the traditional weather outside is frightful. It's more, it's really, really hot. So that was the initial idea. And so with that initial idea, I knew that I'd heard, because I'd listened to so many of these types of songs, I knew that I wanted a marimba, because almost every single song that I'd listened to in this tropical house style had a marimba with a lot of reverb on it. It also would have a mellow thumping kick drum all the way through. So I knew those two things, right? And then another idea was to have the acoustic guitar and to have an arrangement that was very sort of stripped back. So you had a thumping kick drum, a marimba, an acoustic guitar, and then not much else. In this arrangement that I ended up with, it was stripped back. There was a lot of percussive elements and that sort of thing, but it was a very stripped back session. So moving on, I have my guitar, my mini guitar. It's tiny. Moving on, we're talking about inspiration, purposeful influence, and also the chords that kind of got me started. So we've already said that I was really influenced by all these songs that were coming out in this tropical house style, and I loved it, and I was working out to those songs, and it was just always in the back of my mind was that sound with the marimba and the kick drum, and it was cool, right? But also I had a song that came out that year, it was in the back of my mind as well. It was this song by Justin Bieber written by Ed Sheeran that was called Love Yourself, and it had this, you'll recognise it instantly, it had this guitar riff that went just all the way through it. That's not it. Hang on. There we go. Remember that? And it just went around. And then when it got into the bridge or the chorus, it went into so if you like the way you look that much, oh darling, you should go and love yourself. And if you think that I'm still holding on for something, yeah, anyway, so it was just 3 chords. And I really love the simplicity of that. So from there, I actually took that very first chord, right, that was up here, right, and I just took it down into a different key. Same chord, it was a bar chord, same thing, right? And then I went into the minor, right, which was, again, that was another sort of chord sequence that I'd heard a lot in this tropical house style. So I was already influenced by several different things, right? So then I had my chords, and I was just going round and round with these chords. Great chords. But what do I do now? Next, I needed a lyric of some sort, or a tune, one or the other, right? So I started, just playing around. I was playing these chords over and over, and eventually I came up with a very simple couple of words, which just kind of summed up what I was trying to do. And the two words were tropical Christmas. Duh. Right, so I was trying to, create this tropical house sort of vibe, and I was thinking I wanted to write a Christmas song, Tropical Christmas. So I'm playing these chords, and when I got to the end, when I got to the end here, I went, a tropical Christmas with you. And so I just had that. I was playing them around, da, 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 a tropical Christmas with you, and I had that, right? Eventually, it takes a while. Eventually, I came up with the full chorus, which went, lay here with me, 'tis the season for the stars that you see. A lot of this song was about imagery, right? It was about, thinking what is it like to be on a beach at Christmas time. One of the big differences is that you can lay on the beach and you can see the stars. You can't really do that. I'm from London. You can't do that here. It's just clouds at Christmas time. So it was a lot of the song was about imagery, and we'll talk about that as well more next week when we talk about how I started writing the lyrics in verse 1 and verse 2 as well. How imagery was a big focus of this song. Lay here with me, 'tis the season for the stars that you see. So when your nights are blue and morning is through, I'll have a tropical Christmas with you. Very peaceful. And I liked it. I was playing it over and over again. It was very peaceful. Just a peaceful chorus. But then I had a chorus. And what do I do with that? Because a chorus isn't a whole song. I knew that I needed verses in it, and I'd need, probably need a bridge in it, and we're going to have to add something to the arrangement. It can't just be me, doing this, right? So there was more to come. And there is more to come next week. We're going to be delving into how I went about writing verse 1 and adding virtual instruments, adding to the arrangement, building up the percussion, that sort of thing. And we're also going to be talking about, let me have a look, we're going to be talking about, the bridge and the vocal melody. So coming up with the initial idea for the vocal melody, and how do you find that tune? I find that hard. You have a chorus. The chorus normally comes to me pretty quickly, the tune for it anyway. But then writing a tune for the verse, I find quite difficult, because you've got to have something that is relevant to the chorus. But we will be talking about that next week. For now, if you haven't seen any of the other videos at Audio Tutor, if you go to facebook.com/Audio Tutor, you can watch other videos. We've just finished a mini-series getting you started recording and mixing on affordable equipment. And I've got an ebook out, guys. If you are looking to get started recording and mixing on an affordable budget especially, head on over to facebook.com/Audio Tutor, and there is a link for a 25-page ebook that you can print out, show on your smartphone or whatever, right? Read through it. It can also be like just a point of reference for you to have a look at. It's really good. It's got guides to all the different pieces of equipment you'll need, as well as my recommendations. There's also, even right at the end of the book, there's a chart that you can use to kind of keep an idea of how much you're spending on your equipment and that sort of thing. So it's a free gift from me to you if you are looking to get started recording and mixing on an affordable budget. For now, guys, my name's Tim from Audio Tutor, and I'll see you next week. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao.